Real People returns next week. Now get ready for the Super Bowl of Super Brains, the 30th Anniversary College Bowl National Championships.
Live from St. John Arena on the campus of Ohio State University in Columbus, the 30th Anniversary celebration and the 1984 National Championship Finals of the varsity sport of the mind, College Bowl. It's time to match wits with champions. And here are the first two semifinal teams. First from Princeton University in Princeton, New Jersey.
Hi, I'm Stephen Fassman, a senior majoring in mathematics from New City, New York.
I'm Richard Larrick, a junior majoring in international affairs from Princeton, New Jersey.
I'm Robert Rosenthal. I'm a senior physics major from Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
My name is Jeffrey Lane. I'm a junior in the Department of Physics from Cleveland, Ohio.
And from the University of Minnesota.
Mark Lacey, senior history major from Madison, Wisconsin.
Hi, I'm Mark Molinar, graduate student in electrical engineering from Wilmer, Minnesota.
I'm Tina Carlson. I'm a junior majoring in English and journalism from Minneapolis.
I'm Matt Marta, a sophomore economics major from the city of the Big Shoulders, Chicago.
Now, let's meet the man with the questions, Pat Sajak.
What a nice group. Sometimes you just like to do a show with a nice quiet opening. Good evening and welcome to the 30th anniversary of College Bowl. And let's hear it, shall we, for the Ohio State University Military Band directed by Dr. Willie Sullivan. Great job. You know, College Bowl is one of the most watched games in television history, and tonight you're going to see the exciting semifinal and final rounds of the 1984 National Championships. Like most of you, I grew up with College Bowl, and I'm delighted to be hosting the show because it's a lot easier when you only have to know the questions. The answers are right here. It's no trouble for me. You guys have to worry about that. What was true when the competition started 30 years ago is still true today, and that is, if colleges and universities all over the country are filled with young people of College Bowl caliber, and they are, I assure you, the future of our country is in very good hands, I'm happy to say. Now, I'll applaud that. Before we begin, let me explain the rules. Now, we have two types of questions, toss-ups worth 10 points and bonuses up to 30 points. On a toss-up, the player who signals first and is recognized must answer immediately without conferring with his teammates. A correct answer to a toss-up earns 10 points and a chance at a bonus. Now, you miss a toss-up and the other team gets a crack at it. However, if you may interrupt a toss-up as I'm asking it, but if your answer is wrong, you're penalized 5 points, and I'll finish the question for the other team. On a bonus, however, you have 5 seconds to confer before answering, and our announcer, Mel Brandt, will call time. The game is played in two halves that begin and end with a whistle. At the end of each half, if the whistle blows while I'm asking a question, that's it, it's over. If you've already started with your answer, though, you may complete it. Now, all questions and answers used on College Bowl are researched and authenticated by the editorial staff of the McGraw-Hill Book Company. And here to serve as the official judge of today's matches from McGraw-Hill, Dr. Dana Ardy. Dr. Ardy. That is an official-looking person. And now it is time to get going and match wits with the champions. And there's a whistle. Here is your first toss-up to start the game. The Polish government banned them from the schools. The students were...
Minnesota Molinar.
Crucifixes? Crucifixes, that's right. You anticipated nicely. They're back in some schools. And you get the first bonus. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Americans eat more meat per day, per person, than any other people in the world. For 10 points, which nation's people is the greatest daily consumer of wine per capita?
France? Italy? Could
Italy?
be Italy, yeah.
Italy?
Answer, please.
No, it's France. For another 10 points, or your first 10, which are the greatest freshwater drinkers?
United States.
That's correct, 10 points that. And for a final 10, which are the greatest tea drinkers?
England. England.
I would have said that too, but it's Ireland. 1 out of 3, that's 10 points for that bonus. We're playing for a 20-point bonus. Now here's your toss-up. Captain Queeg caused only the Cane Mutiny.
Princeton, Larac.
The Cane Mutiny by Herman Wouk.
No, that's a 5-point penalty. I'll finish the question. But this officer caused 2 mutinies, one by his soldiers in Australia in 1808 and one by his sailors in 1789. For 10 points, who was this irascible captain of the HMS Bounty?
Minnesota Lacey.
Captain Bligh.
William Bligh, that's correct. Another bonus for the University of Minnesota. There are at least 2 sides to everything, as these modern works aptly illustrate. For 5 points apiece, name the work and the author of, first, the 1967 play, which tells of the story of Hamlet from the courtier's point of view.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Tom Stoppard.
That's right, title and author there. The 1971 novel, which tells the story of Beowulf from the monster's point of view.
Grendel, right?
Yeah.
Who wrote it?
Answer, please.
Grendel.
Time.
And didn't get the author is Gardner, so 3 out of the possible 4. That's 15 points for that bonus. Everybody back in for another toss-up, playing for a 25-point bonus now. There are 3 feet in a yard. There are about 3 of these somewhat longer units in a parsec.
Princeton, Passman.
Light years.
Yes, a light year, which is a big distance. 25-point bonus now for Princeton. 2 men are waiting in the doctor's office. One is concerned about his adiposity, and the other about his alopecia. For 10 points each, or 25 for both, what are the common names for their problems?
The first is fatness.
Yes?
Answer.
Sore feet.
No, close. No, far. Baldness, actually, is what it is. But you have 10 points for that bonus. And here's your next toss-up question. In 1972, it won the Oscar for Best Picture. 2 years later, so did its sequel.
Minnesota Marta.
The Godfather.
That's the answer, The Godfather, and of course, Godfather 2, the sequel. About a minute and a half left. This is a visual bonus, players, so watch your screen. Flying without feathers, pterodactyls soared on wings of reptile skin. For 20 points, spell pterodactyl.
You got it, Tina? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, it's P-T-E-R-A-D-A-C-T-Y-L.
No, that's not right. It's P-E-T-E-R-O rather than A, and no points for that bonus, and we go to another toss-up. His lively writings on 17th century London included colorful accounts of both the plague and the Great Fire.
Princeton Rosenthal.
Samuel Pepys.
Yes, Pepys will accept. Peeps is the accepted pronunciation, I believe, but you have it, and now here is your bonus question. When the U.S. annexed Texas in 1845, it gained not only all of what we now call Texas, but parts of 5 other states. For 5 points apiece, name those 5 states, but be careful, your first miss will stop you.
Answer, please.
Oklahoma. Nebraska. Kansas.
Nebraska was wrong, and we stop you after Oklahoma. The others were New Mexico, Kansas, Colorado, and Wyoming, so that's 5 points for that bonus. Everybody ready? Here's your next toss-up for a 25-point bonus. Rockwell International received a contract to build it.
Minnesota Lacey.
The space shuttle.
No, 5-point penalty. Princeton, I'll finish it. But President Carter canceled it.
Princeton Larac.
The B-1 bomber.
B-1 bomber it is. Yes, here's your bonus. I pray to heaven to bestow the best of blessings on this house, and that all shall hereafter inhabit it. But none, and time is up. I didn't finish the question. That means that is it for the first half of the semifinal round. And our score at the halfway mark is University of Minnesota 50, Princeton 40. We have a tight match going, and we will be back to finish this all-important game right after this.
Portions of tonight's show are being brought to you by Apple, makers of Macintosh, the computer you already know how to use.
This is a highly sophisticated business computer, and to use it, all you have to do is learn this. This is Macintosh from Apple, also a highly sophisticated business computer, and to use it, all you have to do is learn this. Now, you decide which one is more sophisticated. Macintosh, the computer for the rest of us.
I'll be seeing you in all...
We are back live at Ohio State for the second half of our semifinal match. between Princeton and the University of Minnesota. The score at the halfway point stands at 50-40 in favor of Minnesota, so it's a tight match, a lot at stake. Let's get going, players. Hands on your buzzers, please. And there's the whistle. Toss-up for 30-point bonus. She was fond of music, but would not go where it was played. She wrote poetic letters, but would not send them. For 10 points, who wrote Because I Could Not...
Minnesota, Carlson.
Emily Dickinson.
Could not stop for death. Emily Dickinson is right.
Good job.
30-point bonus. Many viewers may be taping this live broadcast on their video cassette recorders. I know I am. And it's legal because of a recent Supreme Court ruling that no copyright law is being violated. For 10 points each, first, name the VCR company who was the defendant in this case.
Sony.
Sony is right. Number 2, name the 2 movie studios who brought suit against Sony.
Answer, please.
MGM and Paramount.
No, Universal and Walt Disney Studios they were, but you did get, 10 points for getting the first part of that right. Here's your next toss-up, players. A wise old parrot named Polynesia teaches this veterinarian...
Minnesota, Molinar.
Dr. Doolittle.
Dr. Doolittle is the fellow, and another bonus for Minnesota.
Please speak up.
In the early 1430s, the Renaissance arrived when an Italian sculptor from Florence cast perhaps the first life-sized freestanding nude statue since classical antiquity, a bronze David. For 20 points, who was this sculptor?
Answer, please.
Cellini.
No, Donatello is the sculptor on that. Your next toss-up, players, 25-point bonus at stake. Without touching a single piece, Cray Blitz won a special
Minnesota, Marta.
It's a computerized chess machine.
A computer, yeah, a computer battle, and Cray Blitz won. Another bonus for Minnesota. The current and Fifth Republic of France has had 4 presidents for 5 points each, or 25 points for all 4. Name them, and I'll accept 4 answers only.
De Gaulle, Pompidou, Giscard d'Estaing, and Mitterrand.
That's it. That's all 4. 25 points. Here's your next toss-up. This dry, barren desert world is the 3rd planet in the Canopus system. For 10 points.
Princeton, Larac.
Dune.
Dune is right, yes. And Princeton has a 20-point bonus coming. Even your doctor will agree with this folk wisdom, I would think. Laughter is the best medicine. And though this editor's crippling disease baffled...
Norman Cousins.
Norman Cousins, yes. We'll give you that. That's the answer. 20 points. And on we go to another toss-up. Sheer moonstruck lunacy, wrote the London Morning Chronicle's book reviewer, and some other critics were equally harsh. But the reading public has obviously disagreed. For 10 points, identify this 1851 Melville classic.
Minnesota, Marta.
Moby Dick.
Moby Dick is the right answer. This versatile Russian composer created more than 100 works, including symphonies, operas, ballets, and one polka for an elephant. For 20 points, who wrote The Rite of Spring?
Yeah.
Answer, please.
Stravinsky.
Igor Stravinsky is right. Next toss-up for a 30-point bonus. Me like a Mupop, me like a Mupop, chanted the joyous crowd to the visiting dignitary. For 10 points, who are these New Guinea tribesmen?
Minnesota, Molinar.
Sorry.
Time.
There's a 5-point penalty. I'll finish the question.
Princeton, Larac.
The Pope.
They were greeting the Pope in Pidgin English, yes. All right, 30-point bonus now. You'll have to listen carefully for this. It will sound familiar, but you can name this work and its composer. 10 points for the name of the work, 20 points for the composer's name. Listen.
Rimsky-Korsakov, The Flight of the Bumblebee.
That's it for 30 points. Another toss-up coming.
Get it.
A teaspoon of sugar doesn't weigh much, but one kind of celestial object is...
Princeton, Blaine.
Neutron star.
No, it's a 5-point penalty. I'll finish the question. It's so heavy that a single teaspoon of it would weigh billions of tons. For 10 points, identify these theoretical, super-dense, flashing neutrons.
Minnesota, Marta.
Pulsars.
Pulsars is the right answer. Here's your bonus. Most people think of the Alps as lying only in Switzerland and its neighbors. Not so these other Alps. For 15 points apiece, in what country would you find the Transylvanian Alps?
Romania.
Romania's right. The Dinaric Alps.
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
No, that's Yugoslavia, but 15 points for that bonus you attained, and here's the whistle. That's it. The game is over. We'll validate the scores. Dr. Artie? It is official. The final score is University of Minnesota 165, Princeton 105. And that means, Minnesota, you will be going on to compete in tonight's championship finals. That's going to come up a little later. You have a chance to relax or fall down or whatever you would like to do. Princeton, you put up a great fight, and to get this far in this competition is really a tribute to you. You've won a $2,500 scholarship for your school. Congratulations on that. All of the scholarships awarded tonight have been furnished by NBC to the College Bowl Scholarship Foundation. So again, congratulations for making it to the semifinals. Hope to see you back next year. Now, in just a few moments, we will start our second semifinal match. And, of course, the winner of that will come back to play University of Minnesota tonight for the national championship. So don't you dare go away. Now, starting last week and throughout the year, hundreds of colleges and universities from coast to coast have been competing in regional tournaments on the road to tonight's national championships. Last week, Pan Am helped fly our College Bowl regional teams here to battle it out on the Ohio State campus. Teams from all over the country came to Columbus just for this special event, and every one of them will take back a scholarship for its school. And of the 16 teams that qualified, 12 were eliminated in the preliminary matches, leaving, of course, the 4 teams competing on the air tonight. And those 4 teams are Princeton, the University of Minnesota, whom you met, and you'll also see Vassar and Washington University in St. Louis, who will be playing next. All of the students were housed at the Holiday Inn in Columbus, which also furnished facilities for the preliminary games. Now, for some of the players, the school year, of course, is already over, and this competition was a challenging way to start the summer. Others will be going back to campus first thing tomorrow morning to get ready for final exams. What they all have in common is that they are terrific at College Bowl. That's a game that began long before any of these varsity scholars were born. And we're proud that this year, our host school is Ohio State.
The Ohio State University is a special blend of ivy-covered tradition and innovation. A major land-grant university in the heart of Ohio, it's the choice of 57,000 students, including more than 300 National Merit Scholars. It's challenging young people and forging new frontiers, teaching, research, and public service the Ohio State way.
Thanks again, Ohio State. We've had a terrific week here on campus.
We'll be right back with Vassar and Washington in our second semifinal game. Don't go away.
And welcome back to College Bowl Live. And now, let's meet the teams for tonight's second semifinal. First, from Vassar College in Poughkeepsie, New York.
My name is Mike Church. I'm a senior English major from Woodstock, New York.
I'm Charles Sperling. I'm a senior and a history major from Woodmere, New York.
My name is David Thaler. I'm a senior biopsychology major from Highland, Maryland.
My name's Derek Valentinson. I'm a junior studying astronomy and physics from Albuquerque, New Mexico.
And from Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri.
I'm Kate Toomey, a junior English literature major from Columbus, Ohio.
My name's Andy Zupan. I'm a senior in biology from Columbus, Ohio.
My name's Mike Cadwallader. I'm a junior, a math and economics major from Indianapolis, Indiana.
My name's Stephen Beach. I'm a sophomore math major from Columbus, Ohio.
All right, thank you, teams. Good luck. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to our match here, and let's hear a whistle. Was there a whistle? Oh, there's so much noise. There it is, another whistle. Here's your first toss-up.
Good luck.
America's a union of states, Canada of provinces. For 10 points, what nation's a union of 23 cantons?
Washington, Zupan.
That would be Switzerland.
That would be right, yes. All right, 30-point bonus coming up. Almost 30 years after his death, James Dean is still a cult figure. Yet he made only 3 movies. For 5 points, name 1. For 15 points, name 2. Or 30 points for all 3. And I'll take your first 3 answers only.
We have Rebel Without a Cause, we have East of Eden, and we have Giant.
And you have 30 points. All right, another 30-point bonus. Here's your toss-up. Jose Napoleon Duarte was elected president of El Salvador earlier this month. For 10 points, who was his opponent?
Washington, Cadwallader.
D'Aubusson.
D'Aubusson is absolutely right. 30 points are yours now. If you can name this U.S. president after the first clue, 20 points after the second, or 10 points after all 3 clues. First, he was promoted to a lieutenant colonel at 21, then to colonel while in his early 20s.
Eisenhower.
Nope. Second clue, he was neither a Democrat nor a Republican.
Washington.
Taylor.
No, your third clue. His promotion to General of the Armies came in 1976, 177 years after his death.
Washington.
That would be right, and that's 10 points. You got it on the third clue. 3 minutes left as we go to another toss-up. In this tragic novel, Robert Jordan, an American teacher...
Master Sperling.
Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls.
That is not correct. 5-point penalty will expire. Let me finish it here. An American teacher volunteers to aid the Spanish loyalists in their fight against the fascist rebels. For 10 points, name the Hemingway novel.
Washington Toomey.
For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yes, and when you ring in on a toss-up, you have to answer immediately. All right, another 20-point bonus coming up here for Washington. A Soviet guided missile destroyer recently attracted U.S. attention when it sailed through the Windward Passage toward Central America. For 10 points apiece, what 2 nations sit on opposite sides of the Windward Passage?
Cuba and the U.S. We have Cuba and the U.S.
Cuba and Haiti, actually. So half of it again. You get 10 points for that bonus. Another toss-up coming teams. The Pittsburgh Pirates thought he was a hot prospect if he improved his hitting. But as a politician, he's been a big hit. For 10 points, who is this leader of the Empire State?
Washington Cadwallader.
Mario Cuomo.
He is the governor, and that's correct. All right, this next bonus is a visual bonus, so watch your screen, players. He may be celebrating or he may be ridiculing American middle-class values by erasing the distinction between popular and high culture. For 25 points, which pop artist executed this portrait of Marilyn Monroe?
Andy Warhol.
Yes, that is right. Toss-up for 20-point bonus. Though he won a Nobel Prize for Literature, one of his great passions was mathematics. And his work in that...
Washington Zupan.
Russell.
Bertrand Russell. Yes, you did it. All right, your bonus. Occasionally, nations, like people, change their names. Iran, for example, used to be known as Persia. For 20 points, by what name was Iran known before it was called Persia?
Ionia.
Oddly enough, it was Iran again. Nothing for that bonus. Here we go to a toss-up. One president, Abraham Lincoln, and 4 vice presidents, Richard Johnson, John...
Washington Cadwallader.
They're from Kentucky.
They sure are. Stevenson and Alvin Barkley. Another bonus for 15 points each. Name the major 20th century black American author who wrote first the 1940 novel Native Son.
Richard Wright.
Yes, now the 1955 essay collection Notes of a Native Son.
James Baldwin.
30 points for that bonus. About 30 seconds left. Here's your toss-up. In a last request, he instructed a friend to burn all his writing.
Master Sperling.
Franz Kafka.
Yes, they were not burned, happily. And now you have a bonus coming up. A visual bonus. Watch your screens. Dogs are classified into 6 groups: working, hound, toy, sporting, non-sporting, and terrier. For 5 points, which group includes the Irish setter?
Sporting.
That's right. A collie.
Terrier.
No, that's not right. It's working. Whippet.
Sporting.
No, it's the hound. And that's as far as we get. We stop at the bonus. You get 1 for 5 points for that. That's the first half whistle. And our score after the first half is Washington U 165 and Vassar 10. We have seen things turn around very quickly here on College Bowl, so we'll see what happens. Before we play that second half, though, it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce a man who, better than anyone, can tell us about this program in its 3 decades. Former College Bowl host and moderator emeritus, you might say, Mr. Robert Earl. Welcome and please. Bob.
Thank you, Pat. 30 years ago, on October 10th, 1953, an NBC radio announcer stepped up to a microphone and said, "It's time to match wits with the champions." The varsity competition that was about to begin became one of the most popular intercollegiate games in radio and television history. In those early days, College Bowl MC Alan Ludden tossed up questions from an NBC studio in New York, and the 2 competing teams supplied the answers from makeshift studios right on their own campuses. Listen.
Radio City, New York, is your master of the quiz, Alan Ludden.
Hi there, everybody. It's good to have you with us for another intercollegiate battle of the brains. Now, let's get along with the game and meet the teams. First, Let's go far above Cayuga's waters to the campus of Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, where Joel Marinas of station WSYR Syracuse will referee for Cornell. Now let's move across where another WSYR man and a good station is WSYR. Bob Whitney, again, is standing by to referee for the Colgate University team.
For the first time ever, College Bowl introduced the toss-up and a lockout system, so when a player hit a button, even thousands of miles away, it activated a light in the Radio City studio in New York and made it impossible for the other team's light to flash. Later, on network television, Alan Ludden continued to host the weekly games.
Point coming up. Here's your toss-up. Strelka and Belka were dogs. Abel and Baker were monkeys. For 10 points, what are Sally and...
Colorado College, greening.
They are the three mice that went up into the air. Sally, Amy, and Mo are mice, and that's the answer. Okay. All right, here you go, Colorado.
In 1962, I took over as moderator, and I have many wonderful memories of College Bowl in those days. On one particular program, the women from a small school in Georgia called Agnes Scott College took on the mighty men of Princeton. Here's how that game ended.
CA laid the basis for the formulation of the law of the conservation of matter. For 10 points, who is said to have formulated the law of conservation of mass and energy?
Agnes Scott Butler.
Einstein. It was Einstein. 10 points, and here's the bonus. Bucephalus and Roan Barbary were steeds. For 20 points, what were Balmung and Durandal?
Swords.
Yes, swords belonging to Siegfried and Roland. That's it. Time's up. The game is over. We'll validate the final score and in a moment announce the winner and award the scholarship grants.
For the Agnes Scott team, that victory was even sweeter because they had beaten a powerful Princeton team. During the 70s, Art Fleming hosted the show, and in 1977, an intramural, intercollegiate, and national championship competition began, officially sanctioned by the Association of College Unions International and its nearly 1,000 college and university members. Every year, tens of thousands of games are played on campuses in all 50 states. College Bowl has won every major award, including the Emmy. The program has been entered into the congressional record as entertainment at its best, and it's the only game ever to win the Peabody Award for outstanding achievement in entertainment and education. And for many years, it's been seen in England, Ireland, Australia, and New Zealand. It's a real privilege for me to be a part of this 30th anniversary celebration of the varsity sport of the mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. All right, it is now time for the second half of our semifinal round here. And remember, right after this game, the winner will play the University of Minnesota for the 1984 College Bowl National Championship. Good luck, players. Here we go. Your toss-up. Americans have won only 9 of the 81 Nobel Prizes for literature, but have done much better in another Nobel category, winning 12 of the 20 prizes awarded.
Washington, Beach.
Economics. Economics is the category, yes. Good start. In 1969, it was renamed the Internal Security Committee, and in 1975, it was abolished. For 20 points, name this controversial committee that helped make Richard Nixon famous.
House Un-American Activities Committee.
Exactly right. 20 points for that. Toss-up playing for a 20-pointer again. Purged in the mid-60s, rehabilitated in 1973.
Washington Beach.
Dong.
Deng Xiaoping, yes. Deng is acceptable, and we move on with another 20-point bonus. This native New Yorker with a Spanish surname served for about 21 years as Prime Minister and for 14 years as President of the Republic of Ireland, which he helped create. For 20 points, who is this great Irish patriot?
Answer.
Nope, Eamon de Valera's, who we're looking for, and nothing for that bonus. Another toss-up coming for a 30-point bonus this time. A Quiet Place, which premiered last year in Houston, is a sequel to its composer's earlier opera, Trouble in Tahiti. For 10 points, name the composer.
Vassar, Church.
George Gershwin?
No. Can you take it, Washington?
Washington Beach.
Kurt Weill?
No, it's Leonard Bernstein. Nothing for that. Still playing for a 30-point bonus. Here's another toss-up. It was formed in September of 1980, suspended in December of 1981, and abolished in 1982 when it went underground. For 10 points, name the short-lived...
Vassar, Thaler.
Solidarity?
Solidarity, yes, that's right, Vassar. Here's that 30-point bonus we've been looking for. Tom Paine produced The Age of Reason in the 1790s. For 10 points each, what 20th century writers have produced the 1920 novel The Age of Innocence?
Edith Wharton.
Correct. The long 1948 poem The Age of Anxiety.
Auden.
Auden is right, you got it. The 1977 economic work The Age of Uncertainty.
Galbraith.
John Kenneth Galbraith got them all. An important 30 points for you. Another toss-up now and another 30-point bonus at stake. His latest work encompasses 7 centuries of history in fictional form and has been on the New York Times.
Vassar Sperling.
Mishner.
James Mishner. The book was Poland we were going for, and the author we're looking for, and you got it. Here's your bonus for 30 points. The Department of the Treasury runs the U.S. Secret Service. You'll earn 30 points for naming this other cabinet department after 1 clue, 20 points after 2, 10 after 3. First, it runs the United States Maritime Administration.
Transportation.
That's not right. It runs the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Interior.
No, your third clue. It also runs the Bureau of the Census.
Postmaster.
No, it's Department of Commerce. Nothing for that bonus. Sorry about that. Here's another toss-up. Queen of Troy, wife of Priam.
Washington Beach.
Helen.
No, 5-point penalty. And mother of Hector, Paris, Cassandra.
Vassar Sperling.
Hecuba.
Hecuba is right. And you have another chance for a 30-point bonus here. Wendell Willkie was the Republican candidate for president in 1940, and Alexander Woollcott was a well-known wit and journalist of the 30s and 40s. Otherwise, they had little in common except difficult-to-spell last names. So for 10 points each, spell Willkie.
Answer, please.
W-I-L-K-E and W-O-O-L-C-O-T-T.
Nope, neither one is correct. We needed another L in Woollcott and Willkie. There were several letters misplaced, and we won't go over them. We'll save time and go to the next toss-up. Tennis, anyone? Since 1975, the United States has won the Davis Cup 5 times, but each of its losses in those years was to the same country.
Washington Cadwallader.
Australia.
No, 5-point penalty. I'll finish the question. For 10 points, identify that tennis.
Vassar Thaler.
France.
No, Argentina couldn't do that. Still playing for a 20-point bonus. Another toss-up. The United States says it owns it. Canada says it owns a little less than half of it. This maritime controversy has gone to the World Court. For 10 points, what is the name of this disputed bank?
Washington Cadwallader.
The Grand Banks?
No, that's not right. Can you take it back?
Vassar Wallentinson.
Newfoundland.
That's the George's Bank. Still going for that 20-point bonus. Another toss-up. An Irish orphan meets a Tibetan lama, and time is up. The game is over. We are validating the scores. And we're getting a nod. The final score, Washington University in St. Louis, 195. Vassar, 70. That is the final. That makes Washington U the winner. Congratulations to you. Vassar, you have gone through a lot to get here. And you should be proud of that. You're taking back to your school that $2,500 scholarship. Congratulations on that. And, of course, to Washington U in St. Louis. You've done quite well. You'll be facing University of Minnesota in tonight's championship finals. And it should be a great game from what we've seen so far. I am looking forward to it. And we'll be back to start it right after these words.
Now let's get back to College Bowl, where Washington and Minnesota are about to play for the championship.
All right. Well, 2 outstanding teams have made it to the finals, so let's meet them once more. University of Minnesota will ask you to introduce yourselves.
Mark Lacey.
Mark Molinar.
Barney Haddon. I'm an alternate for Tina Carlson.
Matt Marta.
All right, and Washington U?
Kate Toomey.
Andy Zupan.
Mike Cadwallader.
Steve Beach.
Okay, good luck to both these teams as we begin the game that will determine the 1984 College Bowl National Championship. And here's the first toss-up. Local residents were calling it one of the biggest things that ever happened to Fairbanks, as this city of 22,000 virtually doubled its population overnight. Pretend...
Washington Beach.
The Alaska Oil Pipeline.
No, a 5-point penalty. I'll finish the question for Minnesota. For 10 points, what newsworthy meeting attracted so many visitors there?
Minnesota Marta.
The President and the Pope.
Yes, that's right. Your bonus. Considered one of the ablest diplomats of this century, he's outlasted 5 U.S. presidents, 6 secretaries of state, and 6 American ambassadors to Moscow. For 25 points, who is this longtime Soviet ambassador to the United States? No, that is not correct. It is Anatoly Dobrynin. And we go to another toss-up question. This 19th century Massachusetts woman helped found the National Women's Suffrage Association in 1869.
Washington Toomey.
Elizabeth Cady Stanton.
No, a 5-point penalty. I'll finish it. And later was arrested for attempting to vote. For 10 points.
Minnesota Haddon.
Susan B. Anthony.
That is the lady, yes. All right, another bonus opportunity for you. Ever since Aristophanes' The Wasps and the Frogs, playwrights have been writing dramas with animals in the title. I'll name 3 such plays for 10 points each. Tell us who wrote them. First, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
Tennessee Williams.
Yes. The Hairy Ape.
Eugene O'Neill. Eugene O'Neill.
Rhinoceros.
UNESCO.
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 UNESCO is right, and you got all 3. 30 points. Next toss-up. 2 giant publishers were victims of a colossal hoax last year.
Minnesota hadn't.
The Hitler Diaries.
That's what they thought they had. That's right. Another 30-point bonus. Canadians and Americans have many things in common, including a common border. For 10 points each, what is the only Canadian province which borders both Montana and Saskatchewan?
Alberta.
That's correct. Minnesota and Manitoba.
Answer, please.
Ontario.
Ontario's right. Maine and Quebec.
Nova Scotia.
New Brunswick. Yeah, that's 2 out of 3. 20 points for that. And we go to another toss-up, playing for a 20-point bonus. You may not remember who finished 7th in last week's Preakness, but if you remember the winner of this month's Kentucky Derby...
Washington, Cadwallader. Time.
Time's up. 5-point penalty. I'll finish it.
Minnesota, Marta.
Swale.
I don't have to finish it. That's the horse. All right, another bonus. This is a visual bonus here, so do be looking at your screens. The Great Seal of the United States contains a number of logos and symbols relating to the nation. For 10 points apiece, what 2 symbols does the bald eagle hold in its talons?
We don't have a visual.
There are no visuals, Pat.
All right, shall we go to the other? We'll move on to the next bonus. We go on to our next bonus question. This is a 25-point bonus. Here's a test of your gamesmanship. You'll need pencil and paper now. Take the total number of dots on a pair of dice, subtract the number of players each team sends out on the field in a professional football game, multiply by the number of squares on a checkerboard. Now look at your numerical answer and tell us for 25 points where the Winter Olympics were held that year.
Answer,
Lake Placid.
No, Sarajevo. Your answer would have been 1984. Don't boo, folks. All right, here's your next toss-up. We've all heard that what goes up must come down. But on June 13th, 1983, our space probe Pioneer 10 disproved that, doing something that no other...
Minnesota, Marta.
It left the solar system.
It did. Went beyond all the planets. 30-point bonus coming up. Edward Stratmeyer was a man of many talents and many names. He was also one of the most popular American writers. For 10 points each, what popular young heroine did Stratmeyer create under the pen name of Carolyn Keene?
Answer, please.
Sorry.
Nancy Drew. What group of young heroes did he create under the pen name of Arthur M. Winfield?
Hardy Boys.
Oh, wrong boys. Rover Boys. Finally, what famous twins did he create under the name of Laura Lee Hope?
Bobbsey Twins.
Those were the Bobbseys, yes. 10 points for that bonus. Next toss-up coming for a 25-point bonus. He could be considered the first special delivery mailman because it was he who personally delivered God's message to Mary.
Minnesota, Marta.
Gabriel.
That she was about to give birth. Yes, Gabriel. We have a visual. Is that all set?
No visuals, Pat.
No visuals? All right, we'll move on. This is a 30-point bonus. You'll earn 30 points for naming this person after the first clue, 20 points after the second, 10 after the third. He is the only person in U.S. history to serve as both Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense.
Time.
Marshall.
Marshall is right. General George C. Marshall. Got them all. 30 points on the first clue. Another toss-up for another 30-pointer with less than a minute left. Cecil B. DeMille was Anthony Quinn's. Thomas Mann was W.H. Auden's. And Franz Liszt was Richard Wagner's. For 10 points...
Washington, Toomey.
Father-in-law.
Yes, they were all father-in-law. That's correct. Okay. Doctors may be notorious for writing badly, but a few have become great authors. For 15 points each, identify these doctors turned writers. First, after his medical internship, he turned to literature and completed the play Lady Frederick and the novel Cakes and Ale.
Mom.
Somerset Maugham. Turning in his scalpel for a pen after receiving his medical certificate in 1815, he composed the poems Hyperion, The Eve of St. Mark, and The Eve of St. Agnes.
That's John Keats.
It is. John Keats. 30 points for that bonus. A 20-pointer coming up. The destroying angel, the devil's that's Boletus, the fly agaric. Well, it didn't matter. It was a long question. Never would have made it. The whistle blew, and that means that this Half of our final game is over. Our halftime score, is this score correct, Judge? It is. University of Minnesota 150, Washington University in St. Louis 25. One of these two teams is closer to ever to being the College Bowl champion for this year. Come on back.
Washington and Minnesota will be right back to finish the championship match on College Bowl.
It'd be a crime.
Last half, dig in teams, good luck to you. We have a whistle? I thought so. Here's your toss-up. Lord Byron wrote about him in Don Juan, and John...
Washington, Zupan.
Child Herald.
No, 5-point penalty. And John Filson recounted his exploits in the discovery, settlement, and present state of Kentucky. For 10 points, who is this famous frontiersman and Indian fighter?
Minnesota Haddon.
Daniel Boone.
Daniel Boone is right. That gives you a shot at a 20-point bonus. Dorothy Parker wrote, guns aren't lawful, nooses give, gas smells awful, you might as well live. Certain fictional characters have not heeded her advice. For 5 points apiece, how did each of these title heroines do themselves in? Madame Bovary.
Answer, please.
Poison. Hedda Gabler.
Shot herself.
Yes. Anna Karenina.
Answer, please.
Poison.
Jumped in front of a train. She may have been poisoned at the time. Maggie, a girl of the streets.
Answer, please.
That's it. Time's up. One on that. She was drowned, by the way. 5 points for that bonus question. Your next toss-up for a 30-point bonus. In 24 books, it relates years of travel and travail. Among its many characters are Princess Nausicaa, Calypso, Poseidon.
Minnesota Marta.
The Odyssey.
Odyssey is correct, yes. 30-point bonus coming up. The United States leads the world in the production of electricity by atomic power, generating more than the next 3 nations combined. For 10 points each, what are these next 3 nations in nuclear-powered electricity? I'll accept only 3 answers.
Answer, please.
France, the USSR, and West Germany.
No, the third was Japan, but you have 20 points for that bonus. Here's your next toss-up for a 20-point bonus. For centuries, it was a closely guarded secret and was used only by nobility. For 10 points, what was this precious product of Chinese sericulture?
Minnesota Marta.
China.
No, that's not right. Can you take it, Washington?
Washington Beach.
Silk.
Silk is the correct answer. 10 points. Here's your bonus. You don't have to be a composer to compose sonatas. For 10 points each, what great writer composed the Kreutzer Sonata in 1889?
Answer, please.
We have Gorky.
We can't accept, it was Tolstoy. The Ghost Sonata, 1907.
Answer, please.
Oh, Henry.
No, this was Strindberg, Johann August Strindberg. All right, your next toss-up. When completed, it will constitute the largest electronic dictionary in existence. For 10 points, which massive text associated with Sir James Murray will be...
Washington Beach.
Oxford English Dictionary.
That's right, will be used as its database. 30-point bonus. The New Yorker critic called it far-fetched nonsense, but it's withstood the test of time, and this 1958 Hitchcock film is now enjoying a revival. For 10 points, name this movie which dealt with high anxiety.
Vertigo.
That's right. And for another 10 points, who played the ex-detective afraid of heights?
James Stewart.
10 more if you could tell me who played his lady love.
Answer, please.
Greer Garson?
Nope, Kim Novak. 20 points for that bonus, though. You missed just the last part. Your toss-up for a 20-point bonus. Jazz great Thelonious S. Monk was anything but a square. Even...
Washington Beach.
Bebop.
No, 5-point penalty. I'll finish it. Even geometers would agree with that and would define his middle name as the 3-dimensional set of points equidistant from a given point. For 10 points, what is his unusual middle name?
Minnesota Marta.
Triangle.
No, S. Sphere is his middle name. And we're still playing for a 20-point bonus. Another toss-up now. The English country gentleman galloping after a fox is the unspeakable in full pursuit of the uneatable.
Washington Toomey.
Oscar Wilde.
That's one of the many things he said, yes. Your bonus, France has had a number of kings named Louis and several emperors named Napoleon. For 10 points apiece, which Louis has been given a royal number but never ruled as king?
Louis the 17th.
That's correct. Which Napoleon was given an imperial number but never ruled as emperor?
Napoleon II.
You got them both, 20 points. About a minute 40 left. Here's your toss-up for a 20-point bonus. It is used to transfer photographs and voices over the phone, to weld car parts, attach retinas, and cut...
Washington Beach.
That's a laser.
It sure is, the laser beam, and that'll get you 10 points for that toss-up and a shot at a bonus. On April 25th, 1984, crowds battled police as dramatic increases in food prices caused rioting in this Caribbean country. For 20 points, identify this island nation.
Santo Domingo.
The Dominican Republic is the answer. Toss-up for a 25-point bonus. His wife was Linda. His sons were Biff and Happy.
Washington Zupan.
That's The Salesman and Death of a Salesman by Arthur Miller.
And that's wrong, a 5-point penalty, I'll finish it. He himself was anything but happy, so unhappy that he finally takes his own life. For 10 points, who is this Arthur Miller character?
Minnesota Marta.
No,
Time.
Willie Loman is the name we were looking for. Another toss-up coming for that 25-point bonus. The word is derived from the Latin term for a pebble used in counting.
Washington Zupan.
Calculus.
Calculus, yes. 25-point bonus for you. I love to write in dark colors about gut feelings, said this modern American composer lyricist to the New York Times. Send in the Clowns is one of his best-known songs. Sweeney Todd and Pacific Overtures are two of his hit musicals. For 25 points, name this reigning king of the musical theater.
Stephen Sondheim.
Sondheim is right. 30-point bonus coming up. Here's your toss-up. Its birthday was July 16th, 1945, in a remote southwestern desert. And though it took...
Washington Beach.
That's the H-bomb.
No, 5-point penalty. I'll finish it. And though it took no lives...
Minnesota Marta.
The atomic bomb.
The atomic bomb is what we had to have. And here's your 30-point bonus, Minnesota. And there's the whistle. The game is over. We are going to validate the scores and be right back to announce this year's College Bowl national champions.
Stay tuned for the exciting finale of the 1984 College Bowl. This
Thursday on Cheers.
Diane's friend wants me.
When Diane's best friend gets the hots for Sam, can she keep her cool? And on the Duck Factory...
Scandal brewing at local animation company.
It's an affair for an unlikely pair.
What?
Then Howard's exposed in a police corruption sting. Will it lead to tragedy?
Be there.
It is official. There it is. University of Minnesota, 205. Washington University in St. Louis, 120. Minnesota, you are the 1984 College Bowl champions. Congratulations. Now, I want you to know that all of you, all 8 of you, for getting into the finals will get a gold national championship ring, and you're going to enjoy that. And our runner-up team, of course, you folks from St. Louis at the Washington University in St. Louis, I got it that time right, did beautifully, and you're going to enjoy this news. You're going to take back a $5,000 scholarship to your school. Congratulations. Now, so how'd it go? To our champions this year from the University of Minnesota, our hearty congratulations for coming out on top of an excellent field from all over the country, and this has been going on for a long time, and to get down to this group is really something, and to come out on top, you should all be congratulated. You are going to get a $20,000 scholarship for your school. That's good news. And again, I want to remind all of you that our scholarships are all furnished by NBC. Now, you think you can lift this? That's the big question here, because you are going to get permission and possession, permission to have possession, of our symbol of their national championship. This is the College Bowl Founders Cup. Come on, somebody come over. I have a feeling you were going to volunteer. There it is, the champions. Congratulations. It has been a very exciting week and a great night of champions. Our thanks to everyone here at Ohio State, the Association of College Unions International, for their cooperation throughout the year. So good night, everyone, until next time when we match wits with the champions on College Bowl. Good night, all. Bye.
college crowd. Will she get support from home? Then on Double Trouble, Allison loses her heart to a handsome new guy, but she can't lose Kate. It's triple trouble on Double Trouble. Later, the dedicated people of St. Elsewhere share their lives with you. This is Mel Brandt speaking. College Bowl was created by Don Reed and is produced in association with Lorimar.
Saturday.